So how do I find time for music with a full-time job? Well, the first step is to figure out how much time you actually have for music outside of work, sleep, and other responsibilities. Then you need to schedule that time and stick to it. Now, in theory, we all sleep 8 hours a day and we work 8 hours a day, which should leave 8 hours for music, right? But real life doesn't work that way because you have a spouse or a girlfriend or boyfriend or kids or church or community events or other commitments that take up a chunk of that time. The best way to gain clarity? Use a time budget, just like you would for your money. Open your calendar and look at your schedule for the next week. I use Google Calendar, but any calendar will work just fine. Then you need to add your fixed commitments. Think about these things like your bills, your non-negotiables. This is your work schedule, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Any recurring events like church, family obligations, work meetings, workouts, etc. Set these on a repeating schedule so they're blocked off automatically every week. Step 2, factor in the hidden time costs. This is a secret step that most people miss, and you need to account for things like getting ready in the morning, your commute both to and from work, meal times, including prep and cleanup, and then travel time to and from events, and your evening wind down routine. So once you factor those in, then you'll get a realistic picture of how much time you actually have left for music. And then step 3, have a reality check. If you look at your schedule and think, wow, I have way more time than I thought, but it doesn't feel that way in real life, then it's time to ask, how much time am I really spending on social media? How often am I watching TV, gaming, or doing other things that aren't as much of a priority? But if on the other hand, you look at your schedule like, whoa, I literally have no time at all. Maybe you're juggling multiple jobs or you have way too many commitments. Then it's time to ask, what can I actually let go of to make space for music? Because if you're making music and it's important to you, then you need to treat it like a priority and not an afterthought. So now I'm gonna walk you through step by step how you actually do this. We're gonna open up our calendar here. I use Google Calendar, like I mentioned. You can pull up any calendar that you'd like to use. So let's start with what we know. The first thing is Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, we've got work. We're gonna type in work here and let's set it for green, money, why not? So let's go to more options and hit every weekday, Monday to Friday. We're gonna repeat, so let's save. In this case, we've got Monday through Friday, work 9 to 5. All this time is blocked off for music. And so while we're at it, let's just go ahead and add our lunch break. Let's just do it from say 12 to 1. And we'll repeat that every weekday. Go ahead and put that as, we'll do light green because you're still kind of on the clock, and we'll save that. Okay, so you got a bit of a lunch break in there. Kind of splits up your day. So next, let's figure out any recurring events that might happen. So let's just say for the sake of the example, let's say you got church from 7 to 9 on a Wednesday evening, and that's from 7 to 9. I like to color it blue, so let's save that. But we're gonna go to more options first, and we're gonna repeat this weekly on Wednesday. And then we've got the same situation from say 10 to 12 on Sunday. Set that to blue as well. Come back to why I color code in just a minute. We're gonna set that for weekly on Sunday, and then we'll save. So then let's look at things like family obligations. So maybe you have kids soccer practice from 7 to 8:30 on Monday nights. So let's do purple, kind of royalty, like family. And we're gonna set this as a repeat, but custom. We're gonna do repeats every week, but let's say it ends around Memorial Day. So we're gonna say done. So we'll save that. And then maybe go on date nights every week. We'll say 7 to 9. Let's see, so weekly date night. So there's that. And again, we'll set that for purple. Set that and we'll go to more options again. We'll repeat weekly on Friday. We'll say that. So now, since we've got kids soccer practice on Saturday, let's say from 9 to 11, let's say you've got a kids soccer game. So again, we're gonna color code this purple and we're gonna save it. And we're gonna do more options, do a custom, and we're gonna do it every week on Saturday until, the 31st. So that'll be the last Memorial Day weekend will end their season. So you might be like, okay, phew, I'm done. Nope. So you can go ahead and fill the blank in on any standing commitments. Maybe you got, book clubs or other meetings or friend groups or what have you. But I would encourage you to detail out a list of what you actually have so you can get really specific. It's just like running a budget with your finances. Like, what is every expense and how do I plug it into my budget and really account for how I'm spending my money? It's the same thing with time. Now it's time to factor in the hidden costs. You might be like, all right, cool. I've got time Monday through Friday from 5 to 7, and I've got time from 7 to 9, Monday through Friday. Great. I'm gonna work on music for 10 hours a week, maybe even more. Well, there's a couple other things we didn't factor in that are vitally important. First, there's a commute. So we're going to factor in your morning commute. So we'll just say drive there. And we're gonna set this, I like doing gray for logistics. So let's just set that up, more options, and we're gonna repeat this every Monday through Friday throughout the whole week. So we'll save that as drive there, that's your commute. And then we've got drive home. Maybe it takes you half an hour to get home. You might look at me and go, you're crazy. It takes me longer than that. But just for the sake of the example, say it takes half an hour. So we're gonna repeat that every weekday, 30 minutes, boom. Okay, so right there, that cuts into your time. Oh, by the way, you gotta get ready for work. So maybe shower, shave, if you're a female, brush your hair, makeup, all that kind of good stuff. So let's say from 8 to 8:30, we'll say get ready for work. So we'll do that. And I like to set the personal things as black. So we'll do more options, and we'll set that to repeat every weekday, Monday through Friday. So you can kind of understand how this process goes. And maybe you're like me, you intermittent fast, so you give yourself a little more time in the morning, but I actually make coffee. So let's just say breakfast or coffee. And we'll set that up before we start getting ready for work. We'll set a whole half an hour meal times here, and we forgot to repeat it. So I'm gonna go in, repeat. Let's do daily. All right, cool. So we're starting to get somewhere. So now we've lost 2 whole hours. We have breakfast, we're getting ready for work, we're driving, and driving home. So that's a full 2 hours. So then we've factored for breakfast, lunch, and now dinner. So let's just say, let's make it easy. 6 to 6:30 every day. We have a family dinner. You could color code it something else. You could do yellow, whatever works for you. And then we'll repeat it, say every day. So now we've got a standing dinner time. So now we've lost another half an hour. And by the way, we've got to factor in driving to kids' soccer practice. So we're going to drive there. Let's say it takes 15 minutes. We'll give ourselves a little extra time. It's just up and around the corner at the school, and we'll drive there and drive home. It takes 15 minutes. Even if it only took 10, maybe it takes 5 minutes to hop in the car. It's good to give yourself a little leeway. So we'll do the custom again. We're going to do every week till the 26th. Same with driving there. Maybe you have more free time during the summer. Same thing with church. Maybe it's about 20 minutes away and you need time to get out, walk in, and talk to people, but we're gonna drive there, and that's about a half an hour. So I think you understand how this is starting to go. We're gonna say weekly, but you gotta drive home too. So we're losing time. More time is being spent. Okay. These are like hidden subscriptions in your budget. Maybe you go on a nice date night, half an hour away in the city, or somewhere nice, and you're gonna drive home, same thing. Friday night's gone. And let's see, so we do weekly on Friday to drive there. We're gonna repeat this weekly Friday to drive. So it takes a little bit of time to set this up, but we're gonna keep going. Let's say kind of the same thing. It takes about half an hour to get there. You gotta get ready, look presentable for church, same amount of time, hop in the shower, do what you gotta do. The black is personal, logistics, spiritual, and maybe you sleep in a little on Sundays. Maybe you take it easy, do some breakfast and coffee, take a little slower, easy like Sunday morning, unless you're on a worship team. Maybe 8:30, that's awfully late. Anyway, so we've lost another hour and a half there. Maybe kids' soccer games, same thing. We're gonna get ready for it, and then we're gonna drive there, boom, and we're gonna drive home. And that does not account for, after soccer game, lunch or ice cream or whatever. But even then, you kind of get a picture of what it's like in a week and some of the things you may not be thinking about. Oh, and by the way, there's things like laundry and doing the dishes. One other thing with dinner, boom, we need to clean up the kitchen. Maybe it takes 15 minutes to do that. Oh boy, we've run out of time for church. Maybe we have to have dinner a little bit earlier on Wednesday because we got to clean up. Oh boy, we didn't think about that, right? This is really where the time goes. So we're gonna clean up from dinner, slide that. Same thing here. Maybe you're not having dinner on a date night, but maybe you're having family dinner. So you got to prep that family dinner. And then you're having the date night out. You guys get to have dinner, but maybe the kids don't. So you can start to see, I lost my work in my music time from 5 to 7. We do not have that anymore. So you can kind of start to see how this is piecing together. So now our options are, let's just say maybe you do chores on Saturday. I can't imagine doing laundry or dishes once a week, but let's just say you do laundry, maybe twice a week. You do it on Tuesdays and Saturdays. I don't know. Things like bedtime routine and story time and things like getting the kids ready for bed, that kind of stuff. If you don't have kids, it's just you, great, you've got more time. But if you start to look at it, you're seeing my options now are wake up early and have this kind of 6 to 7:30 slot. Maybe you got an hour and a half before work, but maybe you like to sleep in or you're not a morning bird. Okay. So then your options are Sunday afternoon into the evening, Saturday afternoon into the evening, Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's basically it. So suddenly during the week, you might have 2 hours here and maybe 3 hours here before you go to bed. So you might have, 4 to 6 hours during the actual week, and Sunday afternoon to the evening, maybe you want to chill out Sunday afternoon, watch football if it's that season. Maybe in the evening you work on music for a couple hours. But this is where the time goes. This is where we have the reality check. And so if we go, okay, I have way more time than I thought. Great. Okay, so let's just plug it in. Let's do, I'm usually just watching TV or hanging out or whatever. I can sacrifice a couple hours on Thursday night. So we'll plug in these work on music, and we'll do orange to remind us that we're freeing the artist, and we're going to plug those in. And maybe, you know what, just keep it consistent. Let's say Sunday and Saturday, from 7 to 9, work on music, kind of your time, 2, 4, 6, 8 hours. One other thing. Maybe you're working out. You need to get up a little bit earlier, or you're going after work. You know, maybe you take a half an hour workout every day. But let's say you're really on top of things and you're going to go work out for an hour Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we're going to do a custom. We're going to repeat it Monday, Wednesday, Friday for an hour. And we're going to do this every week. So suddenly you've got even less time. So maybe this is another slot where you can work on music if you get up early. You know, by the time you're waking up, you know, you're exhausted. Maybe you work on music at night, but if you work on music at night, you could work on it in the morning the next day too. So there's plenty of opportunity to work on music. You just got to find the time. One of my favorites is if you work from home, here's a freebie. Technically, any of these slots where you don't have meetings and you've got your work done, you could take a little bit of time, and definitely your lunch break. That could be 5 extra hours where you're working on music if you work remotely. And you're not driving there or driving home. So you get another 5 hours back in your week to work on music. So this is how you actually do it. This is where you find the time. Obviously, you know, Sunday afternoons and Saturdays are prime times, but throughout the week, this is really where we have to count the cost of how much time we have. And this is the reality check of like, how much time am I spending on social media? How much time am I watching TV or gaming or doing other activities? And if you're looking at this going, man, I just don't have the time, then we're gonna have to figure out what you have to let go of. You know, obviously you're not gonna let go of these things or kids soccer practice, but maybe if you're like, oh, I watch a show on Tuesday night with my spouse. Okay, cool. Then Thursday is the non-negotiable. Or, you know, these are the things you got to kind of figure out. Like, okay, if my only time to work on music is 6:30 on Tuesday, Thursday morning, I'm not going to miss that for anything. So this is how you do it. I hope this helps. And yeah, free the artist.